Street Topics. If you want to hear the raw truth, unfiltered, and you want your voice to be heard, this is a topic in the podcast for you. You got myself, C. Holmes, and we got Jasim, the veteran, and the OG that's going to bring it down. We're bringing you facts, raw truth, the word of the street that needs to be heard. We're not afraid to be controversial, and you know we rocking here down in that dirty south of Houston. Are you ready for the next episode of Street Topics? What up, what up, what up? It's another episode of Street Topics, and we are here live and raw, and we're talking about, he already getting bobbed and weaving, getting drunk and ready to go. You know, we like to have fun and much more. It's your C. Holmes as always. And, you know, I can't always do the show by myself. We got some lovely guests going to speak their mind and hit on this interesting topic of the day. Let's go ahead and start it off. We're gonna go ahead and bring ladies first. I'm talking about she's the one that's been popping the balloon, speaking her mind, and she's not afraid to speak her truth no matter what. We're talking about the one and only Taki Breon. How are you feeling, girl?
I'm good tonight. How are you?
Doing good. Now, you know, we can't just leave out there with a general. You know, he's gonna be throwing bombs, he's gonna throw his wisdom, and then he's gonna have the nerve to say some flick on the side saying, oh, grasshopper or something like this. He ain't gonna never let me slide. But we're talking about the one and only Jasim.
What's going on, people? It is time to get down and dirty into the trenches.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the topic of hand. We are talking about the flaws of the modern day feminists. So there's going to be a lot of things on the good, the bad. We're going to address some of the things that happen on both the man and the women's side, perspectives, and much more. And like, all right, so the text to everybody. So everybody's gonna have an opportunity to speak their mind, complete thought, and not be interrupted, so that we can actually have a full understanding and actually have some good dialogue. But before going on, I'm going to start the mood and the scene with this video that I actually created, because there's a lot of things when it comes to accountability. I know me and Jasim have talked about this all the time. Now, when I made this video, I was focused on accountability, but as always, you always get a different point of view that wants to just focus on one thing. But I know I have my perspective. There's many more, but I'm going to give the opportunity to play the video and allow you two to display and place your points without me saying anything. And then both y'all going to have a chance to place your full opinion and thoughts. And then we're going to go from there. All right, so let me go ahead and load up the video so that everybody can see, so there's full transparency.
All right, come on, grasshopper.
All right.
Wow, you really just shoved me and made me spill my coffee?
I didn't touch you. You kicked your own cup.
Oh, so now I'm clumsy? Typical. First you trip me, then you gaslight me. My whole morning's ruined.
I actually got a couple of notes about it. People are concerned you're not taking accountability for situations with coworkers.
Seriously?
They made it sound like I started a riot. I need you to work on it, Jamila. Own your part, smooth things over. If it keeps disturbing the team, there will be
What?
Short and quick. I'm just leave it as that. Does anybody want me to play it again before we allow y'all to do your complete thoughts?
Yeah, play that again.
All right, one more time.
That's about as fast as the cat can lick his ass.
Ow! Wow! You really just shoved me and made me spill my coffee?
I didn't touch you. You kicked your own cup.
Oh, so now I'm clumsy? Typical. First you trip me, then you gaslight me. My whole morning's ruined.
I actually got a couple of notes about it. People are concerned you're not taking accountability for situations with coworkers.
Seriously?
They made it sound like I started a riot. I need you to work on it, Jamila. Own your part, smooth things over. If it keeps disturbing the team, there will be
All right.
Well, if you want me to start first, I'm going to say this is actually very misogynistic. I want to say it also plays into a stereotype about Black women. For it to be AI, these things need to end very quickly. That was very disturbing. As someone who's worked corporate America, Black women are never given never given that. We have to walk on eggshells in these places and spaces, definitely with white faces. And that would not happen. And I've worked in a lot of corporate jobs. I've been at Universal Background Screening. I've worked Dish Network for a year. You do not get to act like that at any job. And so to make something like that as a Black man, I'm very disappointed in you. That's not something that happened for real. If you want to find real clips of Black people acting a certain way, cool, but that's fake. So we need to be better with how we talk about our own women, because that's not cool.
Have you
I
completed
have
your
to
thought?
agree. I
Oh,
have to
wait,
agree. to
wait, wait,
I
wait.
have, I have to
I
agree.
want to make sure. Have you completed your thought?
I stopped answering,
All right.
so yes.
Go ahead,
I have to
Sim.
agree. I have to agree to disagree on that because my years of travel and I have seen black women do that. Now I'm not saying all of them. Now that's the key. Now I'm not saying all of them react and respond that way. Just like I'm not going to say that all black women act like angels and they just act like princes. I mean, then we're looking at a fantasy, of an illusion. There are black women that act like that, and then to be real, there are some black women who act like that in the military themselves that don't hold themselves accountable. And when someone does, they throw a fit. I've experienced seeing that. I've had to get in people's ass because of that same attitude. And most people, if you sit back and watch, there are some black women, not all, who act that same way on the job. Now, is it right? No. Is it stereotypical? It's only stereotypical if you don't do it, but if you do it, it's not stereotypical. That's the thing that a lot of people not understanding or don't really pay attention to. It's not 100%, and that's why I keep saying it. It's not 100% of the black women, but there are some that do it.
I think personally, seeing clips like this is one of the reasons that pushed me into marrying who I married. And it makes me want to cry. I'm not even going to lie, because I didn't have these conversations with my ex about black women and holding us accountable. He was very understanding about my attitude and why I felt the way I was and how I was. And really, with as much I've dealt with within the black community in the past couple months and dealing with black men, that it's been really rough. It's been so hard. Um and I feel like, damn, I didn't have it that motherfucking bad. Like, and that's this fucked up reality that I'm having to deal with is, what did I let go of for the culture aspect that I was missing with him? Because he would never disrespect black women this way. Never did I ever have to watch videos made by him depicting black women as these angry caricatures. It just, that's not something I had to deal with. And I guess just watching that really made me realize, like, I didn't have to deal with this shit. I didn't have these types of conversations. He was cool with feminism. He let me lead. I was a protester. I marched. I did the rallies. I did the organizing, and he was behind me every step of the way. He ran and got my food. He took care of me in that way, and I gave it up for this? To be talked down to from my own men about experiences about that we go through in corporate America. I'm telling you, as a black woman, that's not how I act in those settings. And just to say, well, you guys do act like that. That's an AI video. That's not even a real black woman in that setting. Corporate America is kicking black women out currently in droves due to anti-DEI, but you're more worried about how we're acting and not the fact that white people, mediocre white people, are replacing us in those jobs, and we have the degrees. So it's really disappointing for black men to be treating black women this way, when we should be uplifting black women and trying to pull them out of their masculinity side and put them in softer places. But instead, all I've had to do is defend myself for the past couple months, and it's pushed me into just wanting to be single at this point, because I'm so tired of it. Holding us accountable for what? For what? You focus on your men holding men accountable, and we'll focus on women holding each other accountable, because we do that in our villages. Men don't hold each other accountable. That's why you're forcing it on us. When we talk about accountability, why did you feel comfortable talking about women in the workforce versus men in the workforce? Focus on your own group and the issues that black men have, not what we could be doing better, but what could you be doing better? Focus on your group while we focus on our group. Because at the end of the day, when you're pointing the finger and making fake videos about us, that does not help us come together, but it really divides us and pushes us further away.
I don't like I
Sim,
said,
if
it's not
you don't,
100%, but you can't say that all black women act the way that you act in corporate America. That's that's
But
that's
but
the
we made
that's
an
just
that's an AI generated video. That is not a
and I
video
got that.
from a real
okay.
black
But
So
woman.
Well,
But I
let me
got
say this
that.
real quick. Let me go ahead. Like, I'm allowing y'all to go through, but let me go and point it because that was my creation. But let me go ahead and express my complete thoughts on this. Now, when it came down to this, I'm not disappointed at all, and I'm not apologizing for it, because through my personal experiences and what I've seen through mine and other in the workforce, I have went through the worst hell at times for my own kind. Am I wanting that? No. I have been disrespected, not appreciated, and not pretty much loved at times, or for the work that I put into the workforce by my own. And that was a big surprise to myself. And I love black women, but it ticks me off when I have my own, as at times at my worst enemy. Now, if you pay
Hmm.
attention to the video, I broke it down into several parts in the comments, and it made the other person mad. But if you pay attention to the beginning, when she spilled her cup, there was an actual verbiage that said her foot. And I don't
Yeah,
know if everybody caught that.
I
So it
caught
was
that.
her actions that actually kicked over the coffee in the first place. Afterwards, there was another verbiage that kicked in that said victim mode or victim mentality mode, where she went on a complete rant and blaming two other coworkers that was actually confused. If you look at the reaction of them, they're like, huh? What's going on? And now they were in the backlash of an attack that they had nothing to do with because of her own actions of kicking her coffee off and blaming them for being pushed. Now, the last part of it, when you have the boss, a gentleman that actually came in, he didn't just go off on her. He basically said, "Hey, I need you to tone it down. I've been taking notes and I'm hearing from the other coworkers, and it's ruining the atmosphere. Everybody wants to be in a healthy working atmosphere, and he was just bringing notice to that so that she can be pretty much bring a healthy working atmosphere for everybody, so everybody can get along." That was my whole perspective into that when it came down to this. Point out the accountability, and yes, I use a little sarcastic joke because a lot of times when the anger comes out, it misses out those small little details of what actually happened in the actions behind it. And I've put that in the video to portray that. Now, interesting, you said like we always put the betrayal on women. Now, you said that, but I also made an AI video about men of a person that doesn't work, which I'll play pretty soon. But I wanted to go ahead and explain my whole point of view of that because this is not just fake. I actually see it in reality. And I made it as a jokey video to pretty much put truth into what's going on. And then it goes to the old saying, at times the truth hurts if the truth fits. Because
Exactly.
the other people that I showed that to, they were like, oh, that's a good laugh. I get it. And there was no issue. And they said, yeah, that needs to be addressed because they saw the other verbiage that I was talking about. But I
Mhm.
also saw the other reaction where the message was completely missed and then seen as an actual attack instead of actually seeing the message that I was trying to portray.
Yeah, because it's the smaller detail, and like I said, I've been from Asia to Europe to here in the States. I've been everywhere, and I've seen that type of action. Now I know, she mentioned, she said about men don't hold themselves accountable. Well, I'm not going to say men don't, because now you group with all of us when I didn't even group all like females. There are some men who hold each other accountable, and then there are some men who don't hold each other accountable, or they don't even hold themselves accountable. And then that's a problem there. So that as well is the problem on both sides. That some females hold themselves accountable and some don't, just like men.
You know who
So
watches those videos?
we have a problem in our own culture where it's not where it's not like the old days where you grew up in a community and people in that city or in that little town hold you accountable for what you have done or did. We don't have that anymore. And this is the problem. That's why the kids are acting the way they are and thinking the way they thinking, because no one is holding either side accountable. And no one on either side is 100% perfect. No one on each side is 100% guilty.
I believe you want to speak your opinion, Dr.
I mean, it's
Breon.
just interesting to see that black men would spend time making these types of videos and not talking about how it is a character, how we have a history. It's Black History Month, so let's talk about the history of making Black people into characters on fake scenarios. Is giving very much Jim Crow. It's definitely giving the South. It's giving racist as fuck, because if a white man did the same video, they'd be like, hey, that's racist. This is exactly why. Hey, look at the video this Black man made. This is why we don't want DEI. We don't want diversity, equity, and inclusion. See, Black people act like this, and they're acting like animals and apes, and you just played into the stereotype. If you want to have these conversations, have a conversation, but to make a whole AI generated video depicting Black women this way when it's not a real video is so distasteful, so disrespectful, because I don't spend time making videos about Black men and the way that they treat Black women. We can have a conversation, but I would rather not make a fucking video about it, because that gives white people the ammo to be like, exactly what we were talking about. This is why we don't want them there. Not that they're perfect either, they're terrible people, but it's the fact that they have the power and the structure to take us out of those places. While you're talking about in the workforce, 12 schools are being closed in Houston next year between 2026 and 2027. So fuck all that. Black women are going through this situation. There's going to be no Black teachers soon. Like, let's talk about the real issue. They push Black people out of these workspaces. So now the kids are going to have issues. So when we're talking about the kids are acting up, nobody's going to be able to teach them because there's no schools going to be open. And we're more focused on holding Black women accountable. Black women are the ones losing their jobs at the highest rate, which is statistically true right now. On top of that, Black men are right underneath it. So Black women have every right to be upset. Even if, coffee spilling, yes, I would be pissed if someone knocked my coffee over after I probably drove 45 minutes in Houston traffic, get to work, my coffee gets knocked over. Would I scream and yell about it? No, but would it be frustrating? Yes. At the end of the day, that's a fake scenario. It's not true. So can we base it off of things that are true? And when we want to talk about feminism, we need to talk about where feminism was born from, the patriarchy, and how we have been treated by men and how men have tried to control our bodies and what we say and police what we do. That's feminism. All feminism is not the hatred of men, but the idea that men are not a necessity or a priority without being, actually helpful in a way. I had a woman come over and help me build my table last night. A woman did that after many men did not offer to help me. Nobody offered. I've had the table sitting for 2 weeks. She came over, we knocked it out. So at the end of the day, that's feminism, okay? Just the saying, the need of not needing a man to come do it. Okay, I can open my own cans, get a can opener. What do you as a man bring to the table if women can go to work, get a job, pay their own bills, they have an account, like they can do the things that we couldn't do back in the day? You need to bring more to the table versus I go to work. You need to be emotionally intelligent, physically capable of being in a relationship. There's other aspects to having a man, and if you don't have those, we're okay with being single. So that's where
Oh,
we're at. If you want to talk about accountability, let's talk about why the
okay.
male
So let
loneliness
me ask you
epidemic is
this.
so bad.
So let me ask you this question: what if a female is not producing, providing, and everything that you described, but the man is?
What do you mean
Because
providing?
there are some females that are more females that starting to become that way than it is
What do you
the
mean
way that you are.
providing?
The same description you provide when you said what are men coming and bringing to the table. There are some females that are not bringing nothing to the table.
Then they don't deserve to have a man at that time. I think everybody,
Okay.
when you come to a relationship, you need to be self-sufficient. You need to have your own job, your own car, and your own place to live. Those three things at the bare minimum. If you do not have those three things, you should not be looking for a relationship, because you should not be depending on a man, and a man should not be depending on you.
So
At the end of the
all
day, you
that's
come into
all.
the
So we
relationship
agree.
loving
So we
the
agree with that.
right, because you want to meet the person where they're at, as in, I don't need you, I want you. I want you in my life because you bring something of value, such as good conversation. You're a fun person to be around. When we hang out, I feel happier with you. That is what a relationship should look like. So that means you're not adding to my stressors, as in you're not living with me. I'm not paying your bills. I'm not doing that. I shouldn't be doing any of that unless you're a stay-at-home mother and we're married. Then you can be providing in that way. Because when I was married and we didn't have a kid, I sure as hell worked. We both worked 40-hour work weeks and came home together. Like, that's just how that went. I wanted to work because at the end of the day, if something was to happen with his job or something happened with my job, we have the other income to take care of that. So that's how it's supposed to be. Two income household. So when we're talking
Now,
about women holding each other accountable, we need to make sure we're talking about not all women, because not all women think like I do.
and that's what I said in the beginning. I specifically said that in the beginning. I said that not 100% of women are like you. I
Right.
said there are few that act and conduct themselves that I have seen, and I didn't even know, but Chris had stated that he have seen act in the way of the video. Now, the video, I know you keep saying that the video is pissed you off, or the video is fake, but it's based on like what Chris was saying. He said it's based on what he actually seen. He just put it in
And
in a
personal
funny
experiences.
in a funny way. So
But it's
if
not
that is
funny.
so if that is the case, then in a sense, if you take out the comedy that he was putting into it, it really does happen. And like I said, I have personally seen it, you know, and that's why I've noticed certain black women are are somewhat in a way like how you conduct yourself, where you pick and choose who specifically you want to be in your circle, because you don't want to be around any other individual, and I'm talking about females that act in such a manner. It's automatically known that females on the level that you're at don't even want to mess with guys who are not on the same level. That's already understood, because that's what we both been saying in so many ways, that you want someone on the same level,
Right.
because who you meet reflects your level of maturity or immaturity. That's what a lot of people don't understand. That's
Right.
what we having a problem in the community, is because we have more immaturity than we have maturity. Just like when I used to watch Boondocks, it had some funny stuff in it, but
I'm glad you brought that up.
it had a message in it. And see, the thing about it is people get offended with the cartoons because they more looking at the what it coming out to portray, versus listening and watching the what is the plot, what is the main story, what's the point of their actually saying in it. Just even if you're watching a movie, there's always a plot, and the plot is telling you or giving you information that most people too brain dead to even try to comprehend if you try to come to them directly, because not everybody is smart in the world. Let's be real.
Definitely.
So
Now,
you have to come at people with different angles. Some people grasp it in cartoons. Some people grasp it if you just draw them a picture. Some people, you know. So it is what it is. But far
and
as our community, that is a problem, and it is not really. It's something that needs to be talked about. But when you try to talk about it for all these years, it always goes over your shoulder or go over your head, or someone's brushing it off the shoulder. And this is the problem. This is why it's a continuous issue, a continuous problem, is because no one is trying to take it serious. The households are of in our community are not as strong as they could be, should be, and ought to be, because no one is stepping up to the plate as they should.
all right, so I want to go ahead and ask this question directly to you, Taki Brion. What is I want to make sure I question this correctly. What is the value of a man to you, or what makes a good man for you? Don't worry about what anybody says. I wish I had more women so we get different perspectives, but just give your honest opinion. What is a good man to you? Because I know there's different perspectives, but I want to get a woman's point of view.
I mean, for me personally, and this is also from someone who's been married, so I've done this before. Um, like what I'm looking for non-negotiable, I want a politically educated man. Preferably, I would like my man to have some type of college degree, some type of education, mostly because questioning and critical thinking skills are usually there when you go to college. You kind of learn those things. Someone that can have a good conversation, that's something I need personally. I can't just sit with the dummy all day and play video games. I need to have an intellectual conversation to stimulate things. And then on top of that, I need someone, like I said earlier, who has the basic three. You need to have your own place to live, you have to have your own car, and you have to have some type of income source. I don't really care, but you need to be able to make your own money, which is self-sufficiency. Also, someone that puts in effort, time, that's consistent, and just someone who is willing to be there. At the same time, none of those things require you to like do too much for me, because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to cover my own bills, cover my own car, cover my own nails, hair, toes, whatever the heck extra stuff I need to do. I want you to be in my life because I want you a part of my life. If I talk to a man, I won't want him to feel like, oh, I gotta spend $100 on a date every time I see her. We can get tacos for $3 a taco, and we have a good time because the conversation was good. But I'm not every woman. But at the end of the day, when you are looking for somebody, you need to make sure they fit your non-negotiables first. And then if they do, then you move forward, because like we said earlier, not everybody's smart. So you are going to see women who are only out for money. You are going to only see women out there who are only out there to, sell their coochie. Like you're going to see women of all sorts.
Right.
I'm being dead ass.
I
I've
know.
met
I know.
women like that. I live
I'm
in
glad you're
Houston.
being real. Yeah,
I'm
I
being
know. That's
real.
yeah.
I'm not
yeah.
the only one,
And that's
but
what
I
I've been
want that
saying.
not to be depicted as this is the general sense of what all women are, because we're not. And
No,
it's not fair, because there's so much hate towards Black women to begin with when it comes from, I mean, I was threatened with rape on Saturday from a white man, and he was in my DMs calling me a nigger and a fat piggy. And because of the videos that I've put out, that is the type of hatred I got. So when we don't feel protected, I feel defensive. I talk the way I do. I strike back very quickly because I already have to deal with it from the racist people. I don't want to have to deal with it from my own men as well. So, yes, you might see a Black woman going through something at work. Maybe ask her, what's really going on, honey bunny? Are you okay? Is something going on at
can't use that
home?
honey bunny. Can't use that
Don't say
word.
that, but you get the point. I'm a woman, so what's going on with you? Like, are you okay? Like you said, the guy that walked in that video, hey, I'm getting some notes. He could have said, what's going on? Let's talk about it. You're a good worker. Let's have that conversation, because if it was a white woman crying, everybody would have stopped. The whole world would have ended. Oh my gosh, Sarah's crying in the break room. Somebody hurt her feelings, and I've seen that as well. So when we do not care for Black women's emotions, because ours show up differently than white people or Mexicans, you're really not protecting Black women. You're enabling the behavior of a racist. So we have to be careful with what type of stuff we depict. Like when the Boondocks comes out, they didn't disrespect Black women on purpose. I mean, Regina King is a part of that show, and that was something that I watched the show and enjoyed, is I didn't fear that they were bullying Black women.
There has been some scenes. I mean, I can't agree
Yeah,
on
but
that.
she did both. There was Black men that also got their shit. So it was funny on both ends. It wasn't just this is about Black women. I've seen multiple of your videos. You've made one about now this would be the second one about Black women being held accountable, when it's always about holding us accountable. Hold your people accountable first. Talk to men and we can talk to women. But at the end of the day, this should not be 2 videos worth from you talking about holding Black women accountable.
All right, that's where I got to interrupt. So here's the one thing about this, and I tell a lot of people that look up my stuff like this: stop looking at just individual posts, because if you look through my whole platform, Facebook, Instagram, and much more, it's not just women. I talk about all issues: social issues, ICE issues, women issues, men issues, diversity, income, all that. I just have been on plenty of my podcasts, even on live poetry slams, and I mean poetry events. I've talked through all different topics. So when it comes down to that, I will always automatically defend myself and say I do not just focus on one particular subject of matter. And then on top of that, even with my studies, I'm doing technology much more. What feeds into your feed? Your feed is what you interact with on a daily basis. So if you interact, go through my whole profile.
So this is my OnlyFans dashboard.
Your feed. You're feeding it. You
This
actually
is your page.
no. Go to my
This
actual
is
full page. Go to my actual full
this
page.
is your page.
And
I'm
scroll
on
through
your
all of
page.
it. Scroll through
I'm not
all of it.
saying I'm
No,
talking
no,
about what
no, no,
you're
no, no,
talking
no, no.
about.
Now you disregarding what I just said.
No,
Yes, the
I'm
most.
saying
No, 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 no. That's my time. To, oh, no, my time. Look, my first couple of ones, and that was actual funny video. That was actual funny video. And the first couple of early ones were like that. Now the rest of my page and much more to have more than just that. So don't just particular pick just one individual one. If you're gonna show, and that was a funny one. I had a lot of black people, men and women, laughing at that. And you know, a lot of how not all black women I like wearing wigs and much more. So don't even just pick on one particular one and use that as a defense, because we all know that. So don't even use that. That's a weak defense. If you go to my entire profile, you'll see a lot more than just that. You just pretty much did exactly what I said against.
So this is my OnlyFans dashboard.
And you're going back to my original in the beginning. What about the rest of my profile?
I even changed the oil on my car last week.
So you just focused on the beginning?
Well,
Again, you're focused on the beginning of my profile?
well,
Because look, no. So since she wants to put this as an argument, I'll pull up my whole entire profile. Don't come up here and showcase that 1 week post when I have a rest of my entire profile, because that's the issue. And then what I was about to say is, when it comes to your feed, interaction shows you what you interact on a daily basis. You don't really showcase the entire feed of a personality, and you know me personally. So before you even showcase that, know the entire person and show the entire profile so you know all the different point of views. And since you decide to do that, I'll showcase
They're
my
your
profile.
videos.
Yeah, and much more.
And a lot of them
I have the right to showcase all my personalities and much more. You cannot dictate what I want to say. Does any kind of comedian on any kind of like Def Comedy Jam, much more, Dave Chappelle, and much more have hit on these kind of things. So don't try to use that against me like that, because I will defend myself every time. And then on top of that, you miss completely everything else about my profile, which I'm trying to show if it allows me to. Hold on.
Yeah, you got me looking at my hands all folded and stuff.
Yeah, because she showcased that weak argument, and now I got to close this whole thing out.
My thing is this right here, and we can agree to disagree. Okay, my thing is, if women got their stuff together, this is just my opinion, because women have always been smarter, mature a lot faster than us guys. If if they got their stuff together, then come to the guy and say, "Hey, look, you need to get your shit together." Oh, we ain't fucking with you. So you know there'll be so many damn guys. I'm not saying all of them, because some of them go to the other side.
Showcase my entire profile, workouts, much more.
Can you wait till he's done talking?
I am. You can keep talking, but I'm showcasing this. Yes, you have the videos.
So if
production, keep
females
going.
would do that, there would be a large number of guys that would be trying to figure out how to get their shit together. Because one thing that's embedded in us is that
stop just showcasing one part of my videos.
Black women are strong,
way more than that,
determined, and history has proven that. Now the problem, the issue that I have, that we might disagree, is the fact that you have some, not all, Black females who have a good man that fits that criteria, like what you described, but they want to always be in the control seat. They don't want to allow the man to be the man, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, that's another issue too.
And then I have seen, matter of fact, I've spoken to a frat brother. He had this issue. You have some females that have a good man, but they have a son, and they raise the son against what the dad is trying to make the son into a real man and not be the opposite. And see, and that's another issue in our community.
So when you're saying control, because I'm listening, I want you to also remember that about 20, 30 years ago, women could not have their own bank accounts, couldn't get their own homes, couldn't do anything without a man's approval. And so I know you're older than me. So let's talk about how that is also... Everyone in this chat's older than me. Let's be fair. I'm 27. So this is a real ordeal that when you were married back then, there was a stigma that the man was supposed to know could only control the finances and everything in the household, and he was considered a leader. That was the lead. But let's also talk about how a lot of men cannot budget. There's a lot of men that I've met that I've had to teach how to budget, which is fine. But if they
I agree.
can't budget, and I've run the budget, even with my ex, I still run the budget. And I'm okay with doing that because, once again, like you said earlier, we mature faster and we're a little bit smarter. So that means we know how to do the budget. That means we're in control of where the money goes. That's not a bad thing. That's supposed to be a team. When you're married, it's not supposed to be you do everything. It's supposed to be I have this skill, you have this skill. Let's use the skills correctly in this relationship. You know how to budget better than I do? Cool. So that's what happens in a relationship. It's not about
Supposed to.
control. It's not about
Well,
control. It's about who knows
well,
how to do that job better.
well, you have some either party. I'll just put it that way. And what I was saying earlier when I said females want to have control, they want to run everything in the relationship, the money, the control, the house, and all that. And the man is just sitting there, like, and I just said, sitting there like a little punk.
Oh, yeah,
Because every time he tries, she's acting more like the mother or the grandmother and slapping his hand and won't allow it. And I've seen that as well. And it's not allowing the man to be the man.
It's called
To step
weaponized
up.
incompetence. There's a lot of men that are telling you this are weaponized incompetence. And there's a real that you want real videos of men not holding themselves accountable. Go to TikTok and look up women talking about weaponized incompetence, and they'll show you videos of how their husband will leave the house completely dirty when they go off and do something if they don't clean up a certain
No.
room. And
No,
I've
I got
watched
what
that.
you're saying, but if you heard what I was saying men that are not like what you just described. I'm saying
Thank you.
men that's actually working, having
Okay,
this,
so
having that.
these are
But yet
hypotheticals. We're
she
not even talking
has
about
to have
relationships.
they have to have that the female has to have that control. There's a
We're not
female
talking
friend
about
of
real
mine that's
relationships, though.
yeah,
We're talking
there's a
about
friend there's
hypotheticals.
no, there's a friend of mine who she is so masculine. She intimidates any guy except for me and some others. And no one really wants to even talk or deal with her. And when the guy tries to talk to her, the way she comes out is more of a masculine of a guy way in reacting and responding versus in a manner that you may respond in, if you understand what I
So
mean.
why is she in that role of being in a masculine role? So we don't ask women that. We just characterize them as masculine. What has she been through in her life that has put her in such a masculine role? Because a lot of Black women get set with this masculinity, and it's due to the fact that generationally we have had to put on a lot of caps, a lot of hats when it came to breastfeeding white babies, to cleaning white houses, and then coming home and cleaning our own. And that was in the 50s and the 60s and 70s. Like, these things have been passed down to us. We had to take care of the house. We had to take care of a husband. We had to do these things. And this is an issue for Black women. And so a lot of Black men will go off to where it's softer, white women. And that's a true fact because I've seen it in my own family. I've seen it growing up. They say, well, white women don't give me an attitude. And I'm like, well, what's sad about that is you are not willing to stick with your own with the generational traumas that we've been through because you know they don't have it. White women, of course, are softer. They're pampered. Anytime a white woman goes missing, they're the first ones to get an Amber Alert. Gabby Petito was one of the biggest stories some years back. Chris Watts killed his wife. It was all over the news. Where's the white woman? Where are the white women? When Black women and Native American women go missing, we are scrutinized. Anytime something happens to us, we do not get the same love and affection and care that a white woman does. And it's sad because we get that same shit from our own men and we're looked at as too masculine. Will take us out of it by healing yourselves as men and holding yourselves accountable for the stuff that you aren't doing.
Sim, hold on.
Okay, but
So,
then you're putting accountability on the man for the way the woman is acting when she should be holding herself accountable, whether that's
Both
going to
people can hold
counseling,
themselves accountable.
that's
I
either going to counseling, which is a big issue Chris and I have talked about, is that in our community, we do not go to counseling
You know,
and we do not deal with it. And
know.
Sim,
so, go ahead.
all right, because I think it's a great point to put this in. Now, this is not my own words. from the words of my grandma and another black woman who is married. Now I know it's going to go against what you said, Taki Brion. It is not. Oh, well, trying to gather my words. She said, like, it's a woman's responsibility to heal herself. She should not use her past trauma as an excuse to act in a way to be threatening and to harm to others. Just
I've heard
because she
that
went through a
too.
trauma, yes, she should not forget about that pain. She should pretty much grow from that pain and become a better person. But that is not an excuse to carry on envy, anger, and much more to the next person because this came from this came from that was like my grandma, but from the other married black woman, she said like you destroy your opportunity to have a blessing of a person that will actually meet you in the middle to show unconditional love if you come with envy and hurt of your own heart. You have to heal yourself first before you people who's pretty much the person that needs to connect to you connects to you rightfully. Otherwise, there's going to be you get basically not the person you want, which happens a lot, and then you have all this backlash of them saying like this is not the other person, you meet with the wrong person, you
Because
blame the entire group.
you give out the
Yeah,
wrong kind of energy out there, and that bad energy you give out there, you get it back.
yeah,
So I got what you're saying.
and
Does
that's
that go
not
for
my
both
words.
sides? But does that go
Yeah,
for both
It
sides?
does.
it
It's
goes to
not just
both
one
sides.
side.
It's,
It's
it's
Right.
both
universal.
sides
Okay.
to heal.
It's
That's
just
great.
universal.
So cool. Can men focus on men holding each other accountable while women do that? That's all I want to know.
That's what I said earlier.
We just said
I
that.
said
Right.
not
So
100% of men do that, but there are
right.
some men that do hold each other accountable.
Right.
Just
So while we're
I
having this
said that in the beginning.
conversation, we're having this conversation about women. There's not enough women here. And there's also not enough men saying this is what we're going to be doing to hold ourselves and our community accountable for the things that we do. Because we're talking
pause.
about flaws in modern day feminism. Okay, there's not enough women in this chat. There's also not enough
Okay.
men talking about modern day flaws in men. And so maybe the next podcast, that could be something you guys do.
All right, so
No, we always
wait, wait,
talk
wait, wait, wait.
about
I'm play this. I'm play the video afterwards. Honestly, what just happened, like we were talking about a solution of how both people hold accountability, and it seems like this just got redirected into there is still an issue that's not going to solve anything, and it's like everything we just stated just went out the window, almost to a certain extent.
You said
Do
go
you notice?
heal. You said go heal and go to therapy. I think both sides should go to therapy, as I was
Yes,
on the show and said that. And what did black men do to me after
but
I
what?
said
But this part,
that?
that statement though, like, why was that made right there? Like, yes, we were talking about healing, but then it's like, but black and like, okay, I get that. We both get that on both ends. But it seems like as soon as the healing part got through stated, it's like the attack came right around the corner again. And it's like we
Because
went full
you're
circle.
the thing is flaws on modern day feminism. This is not you made it into an attack conversation. This is not
I did not.
a
No,
let's heal with black women
how are
and
you
let's
going
find a
to pretty much
solution.
look? Yes, I stated that in the title, but you do not have the complete creative control what I had intent. Yes, I did that on purpose for the search and views and much more. And the way this conversation is guided is supposed to be uplifting and then learning. Yes, we're gonna hit controversial topics, but we're learning about it at the same time. You can't direct and say or have and read my mind and say what I had in mind for the intentions. That's your point of view.
oh, so you basically you saying let's talk about the problems and the issue. Now we know the problems and the issue and we can be honest with it. Now that's next step. Let's talk about the solution to the problems and the issues that we know. Is that the direction?
I
Yeah.
think the direction is both parties needs to go to therapy. But when I said that on a show 2 months ago, I got roasted. I asked, "Are you in therapy or are you willing to go?" And a black man told me straight up, do I have some demons or something?" Like the clip is there. So if you wanted to use a clip about black men not holding themselves accountable, go get that one because that's a real clip of a black man telling me when I asked about therapy, no. And then in the comment sections, people got upset at the fact that I asked in the black community about therapy. I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for a multitude of years, and I'm proud to be in therapy as someone who is healing. So I'm not the right person to have the flaws conversation because I know healing is important for my journey, not to find a partner, but for my mental health.
Okay. So let me say this. The gentleman in the video that you just said that you asked him did he go to therapy, and the way and his way of responding to you only shows to me is that what I said earlier. that men and some men are not mentally mature. And if you're not mentally mature, you're not ready to go to that level. That's the part I think females do not quite understand. It's the maturity level. It's the humbling yourself and realizing there is a problem that needs to be a fix. And I need to fix this problem so I don't always carry this weight on my shoulder. That's what females or black females are not understanding. And far as you going to therapy, I applaud you. Congratulations. Because guess what? You're not the only one. I go. I go. And I can say that right now on live. And it's helping me. So that what you're saying, I agree, but also too, there's a part in that about men that you're not understanding. It's always the smallest element, which is the most important element that needs to be understood by men to see why the picture is bigger versus just looking at the big picture and not seeing a small element that created that large size picture.
Are you in therapy or willing to go?
Neither.
Never been through anything?
I don't. You want me to be trash? You want me to have some demons or something? Thank you for doing that for me. And why did you pop?
There's nothing wrong with going to therapy and talking to someone about your problems.
Obviously, you have a lot.
And that shows his immaturity.
His
That
ignorance on
shows,
his end.
yeah, that shows on his end. That what his problem is
A
not your
comment.
problem.
People act like therapy are miracle work. Therapists are miracle workers. That was 1.4K in likes and 33 comments. I feel him. Everyone is not struggling here mentally. 1.1 comment. So let's talk about real life videos that have
And
made motion.
and I got what you're saying, but the thing that I think that you're having an issue with is the fact that not everyone is living in the reality. Everyone wants, majority of people wants to live in an illusion, so they want to believe that they don't need it when they do, but yet and still they're not paying attention that they're having problems, they're complaining, they're stressing, their health the condition is going down. That's the part that I think that you, in my opinion, that is you kicking it to the side, or you're not paying attention to, or you just ignoring. Those individuals I wouldn't even be concerned with because we all know that they have issues. Everybody has issues on different levels, different topics. For someone to deny that, they just playing themselves and being a fool. So if they want to be a fool, they can be a fool by themselves.
So
That's
why
my
can't
whole.
we do that for the black woman in the scenario with the coffee? Why can't she be a one-off like this guy you're saying is a one-off? Why can't she be a one-off and there not be a video of her?
But if you
Because that was
remember
my
what I
creative
said,
control. Real quick, that was my creative control. That was my my choice on that from the other creative ways in my perspectives and others and much more. Real experiences, mine or others.
No, but it's a fake video, so it's
No,
not
it's
a
not.
real
No, it's not.
experience.
That's your opinion on that. It still had, just like if I was a cartoon artist and I drew my cartoons, you gonna call that fake? There's no difference. Than I understand that AI is new, but it still had my creative ideas pretty much prompted to create that. I understand you hate AI. I get it, but it's still my creatives and my original thoughts. Jasim knows about that. We have both used AI. I mean, it's pretty much a new trend. I understand the sphere about it. You have the right to, but it's still I was the main creator of that of my own thoughts. I placed those into.
And
Now
you were
before
okay with making black women a caricature off of a one-off situation.
that's your personal point of view and your statement to kind of drive it somewhere else. That was not my intention in the video, but nice try, but no. But with that said though, I will play this other video real quick. All right, so let's go ahead and share this because it's the other one where you have Tyrone. So it's not just women. I have made videos of that too in a comedic
man, I don't like
view.
that now.
Huh? Well, come on, we all know call on Tyrone.
Oh man, they couldn't pronounce my name. Man, they used
Oh.
to be saying that name to me. I was a kid.
I know they didn't mess up your name like that. That's messed up. All right, here we go.
Videos I ain't never seen.
Surprised because you be making them too. So let's play it. Oh, come on, Sam.
Yeah, I'm kind of busy leveling up.
Busy? You don't even
I do. I just haven't started it yet.
Professional napper or cloud
Wake me
inspector.
when we.
Huh?
Yep, lights just got cut.
Must be a power nap atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. It's a real man, huh?
Real comfortable.
Keep it up, Mr. Napper.
You got it.
That's the guy that we all, me and Jasim, hate. Ain't doing nothing, selling his tail, lights get cut off, and don't want to get his ass up.
But
So,
it
yeah.
also it shows. You can tell she got it going on, and female in here. But the one thing that I noticed is that, like I said before, whoever you pick reflects your level of maturity, what level you are. So in that video, she might have it going on in one thing, but her maturity level in a different part was low to pick him, if you understand what I mean. Now, when I look at the video more in the wider view, this is what I see. There's a possibility the young lady in the video probably saw something that didn't look right, smell right, didn't taste right, and look funny, right? But she ignored it, and she hooked up with him, his sorry ass that's sitting on the phone. Now, that's flip flop. There are guys that do the same thing with a female. They see what she about, just like what was stated, give up the coochie, all this other stuff, like what was stated, right?
Which really happens.
But they ignore the action. They pay more attention to the words. And I think both parties have a problem of focusing more on words and not the action. Because anybody can tell you anything, but if their actions speak louder than words. And that's an old saying that I was even taught.
Yeah, I mean, truly, we've all. I mean, I think a lot of people have been there where, things do change. If you want to look at an actual show, you can look at Insecure by Issa Rae. Issa cheats
Good
on
show.
her Lawrence at the time. Lawrence was on the couch and she makes a statement and she says, he says something about Molly's standards being too high. And she said, yeah, I guess I should have lowered them like I did with you. And someone mentioned that video earlier. They were talking about it and I laughed because I was like, this is such an interesting take, because even his homeboy set him down and was like, I can't really blame Issa because you did sit on your ass for 2 years. She did take care of you for 2 years and she got tired of your shit. And like, it was men holding men accountable. And that is why I like that show, because not everybody was like, Lawrence, fuck Issa. It was more like, have an honest conversation. She was upset about something. You missed her birthday, or you kind of treat her birthday like it was nothing. And then you try to make up for it. And then on top of that, when someone else came along and gave her a little bit of attention, she should have never wanted that attention anyways. If you were doing your shit, you sit on your ass waiting for something to happen. Oh, you had this dream, oh, what was going to pop off. It didn't. Go get a job. And she had to take care of you for 2 years. That's not something a woman should have to do. You are a man. Go work. Go find a job. And so when you make these characters, there's already shows that depict these things. So use those clips. Okay, let's talk about how Issa and Lawrence had their issues. Okay, they end up getting back together at the end of it. They grew as people later on. They needed that time apart. But even watching the show, I said, I don't disagree with Issa. Was she wrong for cheating? She probably shouldn't have, but I do understand why she wanted to leave him in that first episode, because you get tired of having that weight on your shoulder, like the woman in the character. But that is also not all black men. Because in Insecure, we had the other man who's married to Tiffany, a great man. We have the other guy he hangs out with as a fucking cheater the entire time, like, cheats on his wife and hangs out with Lawrence, So there's different types of men in these shows. And so when we're looking at them, we have to make sure we talk about all of them at the same time, because we have good men, we have bad men in almost every race. White, black, Mexican, Chinese, there's nothing to compare. But when we're talking about this, we need to be serious. What did cause these issues in certain relationships? Where'd you go?
Probably internet.
Did it
Keep
filter
going.
them out? Because it has been an hour.
No, the device kind of on. Just give me a second. The son, can you hear me at least? I might just call him in a second.
I can't hear you.
All right.
Just saying we can hear you. I look like you got feedback, but no video.
All right.
There you go.
But
yeah,
yeah, it was an interesting show. I don't know if you actually watched it, Insecure, but like that was how the show started, and she was 29, and it's in her Saturn return era, and it was interesting to watch when I was going through my own issues with my ex at the time, and we're watching the show, and I'm like, you know what's about to happen to you, right? Because I'm getting tired of what you're doing, and you're not paying attention to what I'm saying, and I'm getting there. You know, it doesn't take it takes a lot to get there, but it only takes one person to slide through.
And I understand that, and I got it. That's the big picture. The small picture that I always pay attention to is how did it get to that? Where's the root cause of it? Usually, the root cause is you may agree or disagree. We just have to go that route. You have mothers who baby their boys, won't make the boys grow up. They pacify their boys. They and then you have now you have certain fathers, not all, you have certain fathers who baby their boys the same way and not teaching them how to be real men. And those are the problems because then they're also teaching them that they can have their way, they can be lazy, they don't have to do anything, everything's going to be handed to them and given to them, or somebody's going to be serving them and they don't have to do anything. This is a problem. Now, when we had back in the day, Big Mama and your grandma,
Big Mama,
they didn't play that.
Hell no.
But we don't have it anymore.
They in the club.
The new grandmas in the club with the grandchildren, you know. So this is an issue.
Really best like.
And that's where the root starts from that point to the big picture of what you described in how the man is acting and sitting back, being lazy, not trying, not doing anything. And I'll give you an example. There's a gentleman that I personally know, not know, but I know of him. And his mother did everything for him. And when I say everything, I mean everything. She monitors, at one point, she was monitoring his credit score. She was also dictating who he should be with and who he should be cutting out, buying a brand, expensive stuff, name brand clothing and items and things of that nature. And then when he joined the service, he didn't know how to manage. He didn't know how to actually be in a relationship. He didn't know. He just spent money like it was water. And got married, then divorced, married again. And he still sits around and wants to play the games. But you got 3 kids now. You don't really help as much as you should and supposed to be with your new wife.
So before, it's 10:35. I do want to leave off with there's a post called Sisters Song WOC. It's liked by so many of our favorite creators. This is their page, and Consciously was there. They actually have been hosting a segment of Trusting Black Women. It's a space, a special roundtable discussion with very popular Black men. And they're having conversations about how we can bridge the gap between Black men and Black women. And so I think that's going to be something that maybe both of you guys could watch and see these Black men have that roundtable and have that discussion, because it's Clifton Powell, it's Consciously, it's people who need to be having these discussions, and that men need to be watching said discussions. So maybe listening to them and seeing what kind of POVs they've been talking about, because it's been nice to see these men get out there and say, we need to trust Black women. We need to pour into our women a little bit more. We need to love on our women a little bit more. And not just that, but giving more detail about experiences they've had. And maybe that's something that we as a culture and podcast, we could do better on. But I love these videos. So
You are the one that's causing harm. black men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even commit marriage to a motherfucking woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby? The reward for being disciplined is the outcome of what makes men so great and what makes men be able to understand. I think we're on to something here. I think we're on to something.
And so it seems like it's going to be a very powerful move, and I think they're also going to have a big like a big talk conference in August or something. But that is actually finding solutions and having those big conscious conversations instead of like making videos. Let's actually sit down
I
and have
still don't
round
apologize
tables.
for that. I think
I'm not
accountability
asking.
goes.
I never
I
asked
know,
you for an
I know, I
apology.
know, I know.
It's what you want to do. It's just not something I would do, and that's okay.
Okay.
Is it disrespectful? Yes, in my opinion.
Disagree.
But
Agree to disagree.
it's okay. It's an agree to disagree, but it is to me disrespectful.
Okay.
And that's okay if you feel like it's okay to make those videos. That's your life. But to me, it was very disrespectful. Also, I don't, we all saw the one with the black guy sitting on his ass. Sure, I've seen it in real life. I would make videos about black men in that way, mostly because I know racist white people
But
love
that's
those
okay
videos.
though.
It's not okay. Like I just said, it's not okay, and I wouldn't do them because I know racist
But
white
you
people
just
watch
okay.
those and
I'll
laugh.
just leave that alone. I'll leave that alone.
No, I said none of them are okay.
Okay.
Because I also know that racist white people, like I'm saying, watch those videos and get a kick out of them. And I don't want to give the KKK or the Klan any more, entertainment and add to their entertainment if we're going to be the one entertaining them because, well, we want to make fun of black people. No, maybe we need to have round talk tables where they're not going to want to watch because that's black people healing
I'm
versus
sorry, but we've
making
done that
skits.
from Def Comedy Jam, Dave Chappelle, and all black kings of comedy and queens have been making fun of us, but we know that's comedy.
But
Don't
that's
think
not
it's-
okay.
Well, I'm gonna leave that alone. Agree to disagree.
I mean, but you're asking for a black woman's opinion. I'm giving you an opinion. I'm saying that was a
Yeah.
harmful video.
And
And
I-
if
yeah.
you can disagree, I'm just saying you're asking for a woman's opinion. I did not like the video. I felt it was disrespectful, both of them, mostly because we have shows that have real scenarios like Lawrence and Issa versus a skit of the same situation. And we also saw the actual outcome of that. She divorced, they break up. They end up getting back together later on, but you see how life travels through them. That makes sense. But this small clip is not giving enough.
In your perspective, and which we will respect.
Which is, well, it's my perspective because I said it. So that, yes, that would
Yeah,
be my
we will
perspective.
respect your opinion and perspective. Yeah.
Correct.
All right, Jasim, what do you want to go and close out on?
Oh man. Basically, overall, both sides got to do better, be better. Both sides. And we both have to hold each other accountable. Men have to hold the women accountable. Women have to hold the men accountable. Men have to hold our own selves accountable. And women have to hold their own selves accountable. I mean, and men need to grow up and mature a lot faster, not just sit around and eating buns or whatever the hell you're going to eat.
Buns is crazy.
And mothers who raising boys, put them in something where they're around other boys, other men that's going to teach them how to actually be a man and not feel and think that you raising a boy is going to make him a good man. In most cases, no, because he's not going to understand what a real man is. He'll only understand what is the feminine side, the emotional side, but not what he's going to have to go through, not what he's going to have to deal with, not the load he's going to have to carry 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days out the year. He's not going to understand it. And then he will be a sorry man for a sorry woman.
Well said. I guess in closing, before I close out the show, is like we need to bring back unconditional love, but take accountability on both sides. Let's stop ignoring some things. The hard conversations need to be had on both ends. Stop ignoring them, and then pretty much address them. And that's how you actually heal. You have to address the elephant in the room. But everybody has great opinions and perspective that
Where's
comes
Baker
to,
at?
We'll talk about that in a whole
That's
nother
Baker's that's me and Baker's joke.
But we all play an important piece in placing this all to great together, with great discussions and much more. This topic and much more will continue. So make sure that you subscribe to the podcast as we continue to bring you the perspectives and bring the conversation to you. So until next time, next episode of Street Topics. Peace and catch you on the next episode.